Another bright and early morning out here in the city of Lagos. A minute gone past the hour of 8 o'clock. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Thanks for joining us on this morning's edition of From the Dailies, reaching you on your super darling station, Melody 107.7 FM. This is where we're going to keep you informed, educated, and entertained all day long. And we are here to make the best out of your day. So do keep it locked onto this dial every time of the day. I am Roland Imoyera. Thanks for joining us on this segment of our broadcast. We call it From the Dailies, right here on Melody 107.7 FM. Don't forget, this is where we're going to take you through stories that made it to the pages of the papers, as well as give you expert analysis as we go along on the program for today. So thanks for joining us. This morning, I'll be taking you through stories that made it to the pages of The Punch, the Nigerian Tribune, Vanguard, as well as the Nation newspaper for today. Without wasting time, let me kickstart this morning with this one from the Vanguard newspaper for today. Sugar, Nigeria risk losing African market over high production costs. All right, and that's on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper for this morning. Moving on to other stories now. New minimum wage, 70,000 naira, now poverty pay. That is coming from the NLC. Tinubu to announce fresh pay increase for soldiers soon. The 70,000 naira the NLC now saying that 70,000 naira now poverty pay. Well, we can really, one way or the other, identify and align with their position regarding that because of the high cost of living in the country right now. We all know that 70,000 naira can barely, take care of a single individual. I'm not talking about people with families. So, well, I just feel the NLC right in this context is just trying to make us realize, wake up the government now to the current economic realities of the country. You can get that story on page 8 of the Vanguard for today. On page 26, we have this one. Tinubu to announce fresh pay increase for soldiers soon. That is coming from the defense minister. We've been discussing this on this dial for quite a while now, talking about the need to rejig the pay, the take-home pay now for our soldiers who put out their life out there on a daily basis. They need to be encouraged, not just with financial incentives, but other incentives that will boost their morale to make them realize that, okay, they are truly appreciated for the services they are rendering to the country. They put out their life out there. Most of them have even paid the supreme price just to ensure that we are safe, just to say that the country is safe, to ensure that our borders are safe at all times. Okay, irrespective of the current state of the security situation in the country, these guys need to be encouraged. They need to be well induced now to make them realize that, okay, you are not alone, the country is with you, we understand what you are doing for us, and you are duly appreciated. Now, still sticking with the Vanguard newspaper, we have the stories as well. How PFIPC was created. That is coming from the Accountant General who was grilled yesterday by the Senate. He gave an elaborate detail of how this agency was actually created. This scandal has been going on for a while now, and I don't think it is going out anytime soon. We don't see it fizzling out anytime soon until we get to the root of the matter, which is being interrogated at the moment. Reps summon Adeyemi, other IGP, to produce him tomorrow. So we see how it spans out when he gets to the floor of the Senate, of the House of Representatives. We get to hear if he's going to give his own details, version of how events have been unfolding regarding a so-called agency. Moving on to other stories now on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Candidates upload APC, PDP, ADC. Others did not meet INEC July 11 deadline. That is credited to source. That is on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper for today. We all know how INEC sets July 11 deadline for all these political parties to upload and field names of their candidates on its portal. But we are just getting from source on the pages of the papers this morning. Now the APC, the PDP, ADC, others did not meet INEC July 11 deadline. What is the way out? What's the fallout of all this? I think over time INEC will come out to explain to us if it's actually true or if it's not true, and if it is true, what steps are going to be taken according to the law to ensure that things are done properly as they should. Kwara APC stronger, ready for 2027 victory. That's credited to Abdul Razak. That's on page 29 of the papers. And a big one on the front page of the Vanguard as well. Xenophobia. Tinubu snubs Ramaphosa's envoy as federal government demands early warning pact ratification. That's on page 8 of the papers. And we read yesterday, we made to understand yesterday that some envoys now from South Africa, we have been in Nigeria since Friday last week, wanting to meet with our president, but on advisory from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the president did not meet with them, but actually referred them to one of his ministers now to have a meeting. And this is a strong statement from the presidency, telling the South Africans that look, it's not going to be business as usual, but like Nigerians have been clamoring for, we need to take a more decisive steps, more decisive action, because these guys have been killing Nigerians almost on a daily basis in that country. Even just recently, we've been told of one that is actually being treated right now for gunshot wound to its mouth, another that was killed, just some few days ago in that same country. This is not just happening to Nigerians alone, but like we all know, it's happening to citizens from other African countries in that particular country, South Africa. So no country can function in isolation. There'll be a strong message needs to be passed across to these guys to make them realize that it is no longer business as usual. Nigeria will not continue to sleep and watch you kill its citizens. Not everybody in that country, we all know, are staying there illegally. We all have those that are being there, paying taxes, living legally, have papers, but yet they are still being met with all this kind of treatment. Well, Tinubu snubs Ramaphosa's envoy as federal government demands early warning pact ratification. You can follow up more on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper for more of that story. ADC raises alarm over intimidation of opposition parties in Rivers. That is on page 14 of the paper. Students, others fear dead as hostel collapse in Anambra. That's a rather sad one. You can read that on page 7 of the paper for this morning. 30 killed in Southern Kaduna as residents flee Chawal. You can read up on page 6 for that paper for more of that story. Now, those are the stories you can get from the front page of the Vanguard newspaper for this morning. Moving on now to the Punch newspaper for this morning. We'll be kickstarting with this one, still from the South African incident. Xenophobia. Minister meets South African envoy after Tinubu snub. That is on page 7 of the paper. Senate defense boss preaching bill amid public backlash. There's been outcry, a huge outcry ever since the Senate passed, re-emphasized the need to ban, let's re-emphasize now, since they ban preaching and traffic of selling of goods on public transport systems across the country. So yesterday, Senate defense boss preaching bill amid the public backlash. They say there's nothing new to this. This is not a new law. They are not trying to let me not go into that. They are just trying to tell us that this is a story and this is an event that has been on for quite a number of time now, for some years now. So it's not something that they are just pushing. They're just trying to re-emphasize and restate a law that is already in our system. Okay, let's move on to other stories now. Obi Kwankwaso tickets sparks fresh NNPP NDC showdown. You can read up on page 29 for that particular story. Now to this rather sad one on the front page of the Punch for this morning. 30 killed, houses burnt in fresh Kaduna terror attack. For a while now, they will not really heard so much killings from Kaduna State, but well, we don't know what's happening. And recently, especially over the weekend, we've seen a surge in killings and resurgence of the crisis rocking that particular state, especially the southern Kaduna region of that state. We don't know when peace will finally return to that particular region of the state. Well, let's know with what time we're going to see what investigations is going to bring about, whatever is going to lead to peace in that particular part of the state. Well, I think it will be a welcome development. That's on page 12 of the Punch for this morning. Moving on to other stories now from the front page of the Punch newspaper. Fake agency probe. House faces pressure to summon Gbajabiamila. It has the rider. Reps order IGP to produce controversial DG Adeyemi within 48 hours. As calls grows to invite COS Akume over 400 million naira bribery claims and orders. No fund released despite approvals. That is coming from the Accountant General to the members of the House of Reps. Okay, he was grilled yesterday, and he did mention, he revealed a lot of things yesterday, but actually stated that no funds were released to that particular agency. But we've been made to understand that in the Appropriation Act, they had over $1 billion naira that was budgeted to that particular ministry. So let's just keep our fingers crossed to see how these officials now keep making allegations and counter allegations, pushing blames from one ministry to another. But one particular thing is really obvious in this context: the fact that most people did not really do what they're supposed to do at the ministerial level. If they had paid more attention to detail, if somebody has asked more questions, if somebody has taken the time to scrutinize documents more, I don't think we will be kept in this. We would have witnessed this embarrassing situation that we are witnessing in the country right now. It's a very not a good time for the presidency, because this affects top officials from this particular administrations, filtering across ministries, departments, and agencies. So people still find it hard to wrap their head around the fact that you have a phony agency now coming to get a space in the Federal Secretariat who has direct access now to the presidency in several ways. We've seen pictures, we've seen videos where this particular phony Director General is making different meetings, on behalf of the federal government. He has a place in the Federal Secretariat, budget being allocated to his ministries. We have staffs, even in that ministry. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed and see what pans out at the end of the day from the investigation. The good thing is that the investigation is gathering momentum. Everybody that has been fingered in this allegation is doing so much now to make free their name, free their names, yes, from all these allegations one way or the other. Now moving on to other stories now. 2 killed, 3 rescued in Anambra student hostel collapse. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper for this morning. Speaker's impeachment. Ondo lawmakers issue fresh ultimatum. Accuse Ayedatiwa. Okay, that's on page 29 of the paper, talking about the impeachment of the particular speaker of that House of Assembly. Okay, now moving on to this other sad one. Nigeria woman dies of cardiac arrest during UK visit. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Punch for this morning. And let me take this. 5.7 billion naira probe. Court adjourns trial of ex-governor commissioner. Okay, that is on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. You can get more on that story by picking up a copy of the Punch newspaper for today. So from the Dailies right here on Melody 107.7 FM, 15 minutes got past the hour of 8 o'clock. And don't forget, the studio lines are open now for you to call in to share your thoughts and opinions on any of the stories that resonate with you, or you have an idea you want to share with us, you have a feeling you want us to get to know this morning in course of the program. The studio lines you can reach us on today is 0906 201 1077 0906 201 1077. You can as well call us this morning on 0704 800 1077 0704 800 1077 to share your thoughts and opinions on any of the stories that we've read out to you that has resonated with you in the course of the program. Don't forget the WhatsApp platform is also there for you to drop in your thoughts and your comments if you want us to take them this morning. Okay, let's see if this call is for us. Let's see if this call is for us. Let's quickly take it this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello,
good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. Your name and where you're calling us from, please.
Thank you, Melody FM. My name is Daniel. I'm calling from Bega.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk on the issue of the presidency. That is the president snubbing the South African envoy.
Go ahead, please. Yes.
It's a good one, and in fact, I have expected the federal government to have taken serious action against South African government. Right from the inception when they start, because I've never seen such a country that is so their citizens are so heartless, so wicked. Even if we have Nigerians that are staying, or Africans, fellow Africans staying in South Africa illegally, they don't have the right to kill and to destroy fellow Africans staying there. It's not good. So their governments are culpable. We should hold them responsible, because they, in fact, we did not hear the president of South Africa addressing this issue. So it is time for our federal government to stand up and demand a lot of things from South Africa. The family of those killed in South Africa since 2022 till now, they should demand higher compensation. The family should be compensated. And those properties destroyed in South Africa should be returned to the owners. And at the same time, here in Nigeria, it is time federal government should compel their companies to begin to do the needful. All these DSTV, MTN, and whatever companies they have here that they've been ripping us off, they should be brought under scrutiny, and they should make them pay heavily. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, the South African president has been speaking about this for some time now. Even though so many people believe that his body language is not really matching what he's saying, he's not really doing enough now to ensure that this is nipped in the bud, because his fellow countrymen and citizens have been going about seemingly unchecked. Sometimes you see their security personnel now even following these guys that are going to maim people, going to burn shops, going to kill people from the street and harass innocent citizens. So not need to be done to pass a message to these particular guys that look, the lives of people, the life and property of citizens, even not even just the citizens now, anybody in your country, even though they are there illegally, they have rights, they have a form of right, and there's better ways to go about all this. Like you rightly said, the federal government, well, I know they've been calling for compensations for victims, from the South African government, who on their part has come out to say that they are not ready to compensate anybody for anything. Well, I think right now the African ECOWAS is trying to organize themselves to report South Africa, take their issue now to the African Union brother body, and let's see what comes out of it at the end of the day. But thanks for calling to share your thoughts concerning that one. Moving on to the Nation newspaper this morning. Presidency. Oshiomhole chide Obi for attacking Tinubu. This is the season of politics, so you're going to start hearing more of this. Anybody that's attacking the presidency or from either side, people come out will give their own opinions and counter opinions to most of all these things that we will be seeing in the wake and the build up now to the upcoming general election. Many killed in Southern Kaduna attacks. Go after assailants. That's the rider of that story. All right, moving on to other stories now. Over 40 bandits killed as troops repel attacks in Katsina. Now women rule in the judiciary. We see the pictures of the leading women splashed on the front page of that particular newspaper for this morning. Moving on to other stories now from the front page of the Nation newspaper. 29 forged documents by fake agency uncovered by panel. It has the rider AGF. Letter to Aso Villa hijacked. Adeyemi, 13 civil servants expected tomorrow. The one that got me really concerned when I was going through the story earlier is the fact that the AGF said a letter to Aso Villa hijacked. How can a sensitive letter from their ministry to the villa now get? I still can't wrap my head around it. These are very sensitive documents. How it got hijacked, we don't really know. But well, they say that's part of the. I don't really know, but I mentioned earlier that if somebody somewhere had paid a closer attention to detail, we will not be embroiled in this particular saga that is like an embarrassing situation to the country as we speak right now. So many allegations and counter allegations keep sprouting up every day. All right, let me go on to other stories now from the front page of the Nation newspaper. Federal government, 98 Nigerians killed in South Africa within 4 years. It has the rider, Minister of State in tough talk with Ramaphosa envoy in Abuja. This is quite alarming. 98 Nigerians killed in a particular country in the past 4 years. It's quite alarming, and the federal government at this point needs to step up action. This is I don't really know, but another on the flip side of it, we have to do more to make our country a safe space for people to live in, to want to live in and do business and stay in their country, not to start looking for greener pastures in other places. I think this is one of the ways that you can curb and reduce, the brain drain that we have in the country. Not just brain drain now, the clamor for people, wanting to leave the country for greener pastures in other climes. Fix our country, make it friendly for people to want to live in, and safe for them to raise families, for them to live a better life. I think this is one of the ways which we can curb this particular incident of Nigerians being caught up in different countries across the world. Now, those are the stories you can find on the front page of the Nation newspaper for this morning. And let me quickly run you through the stories from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for today. Defense Minister assures soldiers of another salary increase. And that's on page 26 of the paper. Nigeria demands action on 98 citizens killed in South Africa since 2022. This is quite alarming and disturbing. A lot needs to be done. Most of these killings have gone unchecked. They keep telling us they were going to investigate, but we don't really see anything. We've not seen anything coming out of this investigation at the end of the day. Moving on to other stories now from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for this morning. Lagos top states in IGR per person. Kebbi records lowest. Okay, that's on page 7 of the paper for this morning. Moving on now, Oshunguba. EU observers warn of security risk. It has the rider says August 15 poll critical test for election institutions ahead of 2027 general election identifies 13 out of 30 local government areas as high risk due to politically motivated killings. Cite prolonged disputes over local government administration as key source of tension and calls for intelligence-driven security and deployment in high-risk areas. I think this rider sums up the worries of not just the European Union right now, but most concerned Nigerians who have been looking critically and paying attention critically to the issues emanating from Osun State at the moment. It's not been a very palatable story. We've been seeing extrajudicial killing, politically motivated killings in the build-up to this election, arrests right, left, and center, and now the European Union observers are warning of security risks. Let's just hope our security architectures are not really sleeping on this matter, and they are doing enough, to redeployment now to ensure a smooth and safe conduct of the governorship election coming up in that state. You can follow up on page 17 on the paper for more of that story this morning. FRSC Act, ban on preaching in buses orders was passed in 2007, not a new law. That is coming from the Senate. Says street preaching not outlawed. So that should douse the fears of some people who are thinking that this is aimed at attacking one particular religion in the country, and silencing them. Now they're saying the street preaching is not outlawed. Okay, but ban on preaching in buses. Otherwise, others now was passed in 2007. It's not a new law. So stop attacking us. That's what the Senate are coming out to say right now. Let me move on to other stories. Cholera claims 14 lives in Plateau, 441 suspected cases recorded. No plenary until Speaker resigns. That is coming from the Ondo State Assembly spokesman. PFIPC Reps panel uncovers 27 allegedly forged documents. Reps pass legislative framework on whistleblower for future of assets. So CAPO, that's the Southern Kaduna Progressive Union, writes police over killing of 30 people in Southern Kaduna. You can get up more on that story from page 26 of the papers. And those are some of the stories you can find on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper for today. for so many stories you can get from the pages of the papers as events keep unraveling in the country on a daily basis. The good thing is that this country is not short of stories. I will not be short of stories, and we right here on Melody will not be short of giving you most of these juicy details that are coming out on the pages of the papers as we're getting them on an hourly basis, on a minute by minute basis as they keep breaking to you. Well, that's the much we can bring to you on From the Dailies this morning on your super darling station, Melody 107.7 FM. Like I did mention earlier, this is where we get to keep you informed, educated, and entertained all day long. I am Roland Imoyera. Don't forget